Hey everyone, Simon here. Wow, it's October 6th, looks like, and I'm getting a bunch of phone calls from friends and associates, one of whom is Regina Meredith, who reminded me I completely forgot that earlier this year I may have predicted that one of the justices might pass away, and um, and that Trump would likely get sick before the election. So people are like, okay, now what? Um, so we're gonna go and have another talk. Those of you who don't know Regina, she hosts the show Open Minds on um, on the Gaia channel, excellent, beautiful channel, and she has her own website, which you can find here. But before we do that, so I'll be talking to her here in a couple of days. That should be out shortly. But before we do that, I do want to talk to you and maybe answer some questions from people who are asking me, "Hey, what's going on with the president? Is he going to be okay? Does your prediction that he will lose the election still hold? If so, what does that mean for the US and so forth?" So I'm going to answer or try to answer all of those questions for you today. So watch this video till the end, hopefully. So let's get started. The first thing is let's take a look at President Trump's chart. And if you don't know, or if you know any kind of astrology, Vedic, tropical, doesn't matter. You know that right now he has the south node of the moon, the south node, exactly transiting his moon, which is right here. I have the top notch numero uno graphics. Look at this. No one does it better than I do. Look at this. Amazing. I can make lines. So one of these days I'm actually going to do this professionally. Um anyway, so the south node of the moon, called K2 in the sky, is exactly on Donald Trump's moon at the moment. It's at 28 degrees. So what is K2 and why do we care about this? Well, K2 is the reason that I predicted that Bitcoin and the markets in general actually would, but specifically Bitcoin, would have a steep crash February, I forget the date, 20th or something, through March 21st. I think February 18th, something like that. There, that's in another video on YouTube. You can see that, my Bitcoin 2020 predictions. Besides the point. So, and in that video, I said it'll be because of an out, some kind of outlandish event, an outlier event, something like a virus, like terrorism, like a meteor hitting, or something completely out of the norm. Okay. And I gave you the precise dates. Now is the precise time that K2 is hitting Donald Trump's moon. Whether you do tropical astrology, whether you do whatever astrology you do, uh, K2, the south node of the moon, is on Donald Trump's natal moon and on his natal south node. So he's having a nodal return. Okay. Explanations aside, what does this mean? It means that the same thing that happened to Bitcoin is happening to the president. He's being assaulted by out of the blue kind of event. And as of October 6th, which is today, he's out of the hospital. He seems fine. But I got to tell you, this thing doesn't go away that quick. I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about the K2. K2 is very slow moving. It takes a year and a half for it to cross 30 degrees, to cross a full sign. And looking at Trump's natal chart, we see that even by the time of the election, it'll only have moved 1 degree. So I suspect that there are going to be in relapses, or that the condition isn't going to go away as fast as it seems like right now. So what does his annual chart then have to say? Well, the annual chart is something called a Varshafal. And in his annual chart, you won't believe this, but he entered his Mars period. I'm going to move my little image here. He entered Mars on October 1st, guys. Look at this. October 1st, 2020. Mars is in the eighth house conjunct Neptune, of illness and difficult to treat disorders. And that Mars period does not end until October 23rd. So that's another couple of weeks. That's another reason that I think this might be more complicated than they're letting on at the moment. So, whatever you think, whatever you're doing with the markets, or just as a voter or as a citizen, just be aware that he's not out of the woods yet. Okay, this is, and again, this is just astrology, folks. This is, you know, telling you what I see, because a lot of you have been calling me. If it were up to me, I just wouldn't be talking about this. But if you believe in this astrology stuff, then this is what the astrology is showing. So he's in this Mars period until October 23rd. But then after that, he starts Rahu, which isn't that much better. Rahu is in the 12th house, which has to do with loss, hospitalization, and so forth, and loss of energy. So yeah, so I think his health, there's still some issues there. Now, I could be totally wrong, and I'm open to being wrong. I've said that before. In fact, honestly, I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope I'm wrong, and he has a speedy recovery, and everything's on fair ground, and we have a fair election and all that. So there's no controversy come election time. But having said that, the astrology doesn't really indicate that. It indicates there will be controversy. Another thing that the astrology indicates, this is in the chart of the United States, is that there's a great enemy rising to the United States during this period before the end of this year. Now, I originally talked about this in one of my courses, and the students were like, well, who's the enemy? Is it China? Is it? I was like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, but it is a powerful, powerful enemy. It could be China. In terms, it could be China. It could be an internal enemy. It could be something brewing from the inside. But there's the rise of a formidable enemy that through next year will be a big problem for the U.S. And it's represented by Saturn, which rules. Saturn rules old, established kind of things. But I'm not going to speculate about who it might be at the moment. That's not what this talk is about. This talk is about the president. So anyway, look, I think he's got a few more weeks before we can talk about recovery. I think there's going to be some relapses here. So that's one thing to watch out for. Another thing, as I mentioned, I did think one of the justices will pass this year, and unfortunately it's happened. So on Regina's show, we'll talk about whether or not the new justice who's being nominated will make it, what my prognosis is. So check that out if you can. And then overall, looking at sort of the state of the US and the world, I think that I think the US will be okay starting next year. I mean, 2020 is just a doozy, right? There's still a bunch of eclipses, Jupiter Saturn conjunction coming up before the end of the year. So until then, everything's going to be a little crazy. But I've talked about an economic decline in 2021 after the election. I still stand by that. So, save your pennies, pinch your pennies. It might be a little rough next year, but overall, I think by the end of 2021, I think we'll see Bitcoin at new all-time highs. In fact, I predicted Bitcoin would reach new all-time highs in 10 months. That was, I believe, in June. So July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. By next March, April, we should see all-time highs in Bitcoin. So, and probably by the end of next year, Bitcoin should be maybe even double its all-time highs. So should be a great year for Bitcoin next year. That's a prediction I'm making here. What else? I think that's about it. So to summarize, I think there are more obstacles looking at Donald Trump's chart to his health, at least through October 23rd of this year, so another couple weeks, but quite possibly all the way through mid-December. Okay, so which is the Rahu period, and partly because of his yearly chart, but also because of the fact that the South Node is transiting his Moon, his fourth house, and that is always problematic. When the South Node transits any sensitive point in your chart, you feel lost, you feel afflicted, and you don't kind of you can't. It's like an invisible fly that you're trying to swat, and you can't, and it's just constantly there. It's very annoying. It's tough. I've been through it. Probably many of you have been through it. It sucks. It's not fun. So yeah, so he has to go through it right now. And yeah, so if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to answer. And we will see you in the next one. Namaste, everyone.